What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing? We're doing okay over here. My middle kiddo, I have 3 boys, and my middle kiddo, he's 6 years old and he is home with the flu. And I know what you're worried about. You're worried about, Matt, did you get your workout in for today? And just kidding, I know that you guys are concerned about Sam. He's actually doing better. He is pretty much, I think, on the mend. He may go back to school tomorrow, so he's doing much better. But thank you for your concern. But it's given me an opportunity to do a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, which is like 5 fun workouts that you can do with your kids. Okay, so we'll start with some workouts that are pretty straightforward and pretty obvious, and kind of work our way towards some workouts that you might not think of, or some things that might be a little bit more unique. And the first one is pretty straightforward, and that is to hop on your indoor bike trainer if you have one. And I suggest investing in something like that if you guys are interested in triathlon and training kind of year-round for triathlon. And I'll leave a link to a video where I talk about the Wahoo Kicker Core, which is probably, you know, one of the trainers that I might suggest that you guys consider if you're considering like a smart indoor trainer. And the one alteration to the workout that I might suggest is just doing kind of a steady state ride. I use a program called Zwift where you can do kind of workouts, or you can do kind of just like steady state rides. And with kids, what I'll do is more of a steady state ride, and then just for fun, you know, I know that my 3-year-old will inevitably like need me in an hour ride. Probably he'll ask for me about 3 or 4 times. So I would suggest kind of like making a bit of a game out of it just so that you don't get frustrated. I would suggest doing something like a 10-second sprint every time they call for you to get off the bike. And also just knowing that this is not gonna be one of your key workouts of the week. Those couple things just kind of help me get a little less frustrated when I have to hop off the bike and help kids with, you know, whatever it is. But it usually has something to do with going to the bathroom. The next workout is a good one if you need to be a little bit closer or a little bit more hands-on with, you know, a sick kid, for example, or maybe it's a kid that's a little bit younger. And that would be trying to tackle what I would describe as kind of like a core workout. And I'll briefly go through like my quick example. You know, I'm not super great at doing core workouts, and usually they don't take a ton of time for me to kind of develop a little bit of muscle soreness, but usually I'll start up with just some active stretching and plyometrics. And then I actually use the stairs a lot in our house, which is good just because it keeps me a little bit closer to the family. And so I'll use the stairs first for just some step ups. And with these, I really just try to kind of like work on my form, kind of extending and going through that full range of motion through my hips and hip flexors. And in general, I prefer these like compound motion exercises, you know, as opposed to like isolating a specific muscle. And by this point, you know, I'm usually pretty warmed up. I'll get into basically just something really simple where I just do some stair steps, and that should get your heart rate up. You know, I don't do a lot of that. I'll really only run the stairs for about 5 minutes. So this workout isn't too intense. And then the last thing I'll do on the stairs is just some calf raises. And I try to do like eccentric exercises. So that would be like 2 feet pushing up, and then just using 1 foot to lower yourself slowly back down, and then 2 feet to push back up. And I'll aim to do about 10 to 12 of those exercises per foot. And then the last exercise that I'll do, just kind of like as a bit of a cool down, is a few crunches and things like that, and then a few push-ups just for fun. Now, a lot of these exercises don't help with your swimming that much, and that is difficult. But if you have some bands at your house, one exercise that you can do is just use your bands and do some basic rowing exercises with bands. And I don't actually do a ton of band exercises. I actually make it to the pool pretty regularly. You know, when I do the band exercises, basically I just try to keep good form and do about 3 sets of 25. By that point, I'm usually pretty tired. But it's a good alternative to maybe missing a swim workout. that was a couple of workouts inside that you can do with kids, sick kids, whatever the situation is. But what I find myself doing a lot of times is actually like coming outside, and again, it depends on their kid's age. But one thing that's a little bit weird that I do is I actually run loops around my cul-de-sac. And so it ends up being about 16 laps to the mile, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, and it is actually a little bit crazy. Your neighbors will think that you are crazy, and they're probably right, but they probably figured that out the first time that you hit the spandex outfit and took it for a spin. One thing that you can do if you don't live in a cul-de-sac is just basically go up and down the street with whatever distance that you're comfortable with. And another workout that I'll give you that is very similar to this is just to take your kids with you to some sort of park, potentially a place that has a playground. I've done this, you know, at a school when school was basically, you know, out of session, spring break or whatever it is. In this case, there was like a paved path that was basically a quarter mile around with a playground, and that worked out really well to sneak a workout in. And one last bonus workout, and again, this one's similar to the previous two, would just be to take your kids to a high school track. What I've done in the past is actually like pack their bikes in the car, take them to the high school track when school was out of session, and actually, you know, just having the gates and things like that closed off. I knew that my kids couldn't get into too much trouble, and although there was really nothing on the track for the kids to do except for bike, my kids were still able to hurt themselves, basically like right as I was in the middle of like the hard mile that I was hoping to do for the workout. And so, you know, just like I mentioned before, these workouts are not to be taken too seriously, but it is fun to try to sneak them in. All right, guys, if you guys are into this sort of stuff, and that would be like swimming, biking, and running, you know, consider subscribing. There is a subscribe button below somewhere. There's also a notification bell, and that notification bell just allows you to be notified of whenever I post new videos, which I'm trying to do about once a week. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on the next video.